What's up, everybody? Dan Latrella here with a special guest. It's Friday. It's Podcast Friday. I got my special guest, Cisco Borres. Everyone give him a welcoming for me.
Cheers, cheers, thank you. I'm feeling the love.
So real quick before we get started today, guys, I always bring a special realtor guest, and I like to just get to know them, but I was creeping his Facebook in the last couple weeks, and someone was just away on vacation. So tell me about the vacation.
Yes, sir. Much needed. Big shouts to Sandals and that whole organization. They just know how to do it. Me and my wife, obviously, it's been 3 years coming for something like this.
Okay.
So we booked this trip like back in early 2019 before pandemic, pre craziness in the world, and you know, it's been pushed out and then pushed out. The last time it got pushed out, it wasn't even pandemic related. It was a renovation. So it wasn't even like, so, you know, we've been itching for this one. And then we get down there and did a lot of nothing. Did a lot of sitting.
Listen, I'll take that all day.
You know.
Yeah. So now, what Sandals did you go to?
Oh, we did the Royal Bahamian. So it's like home for us because that was our honeymoon. That was our 10-year anniversary.
Nice.
And you know, she's been putting up with me for a while now, so it's all good.
So now, since you last went, you said they were doing renovations, and actually they have one of my weeks paid for. I still haven't been. Tell us about it. Were the renovations all done? Was it worth it? Was it a great trip?
So I mean, the trip is 5 stars. I mean, all day. It was a perfect trip. It wasn't all done. It's like 90% of the way there. The room that we had originally booked wasn't complete, so we actually got. I mean, they call it downgraded, but you know, I was fine. It's all good. I'm not
downgraded. Did you get a butler? Or
we got a butler and we got a swim up pool. Like we got a swim up room.
So you would recommend to anyone looking for a trip? You're a big Sandals guy.
Dude, Sandals all day. Well, I mean, not for a single guy. You know,
yeah.
If you're, it's couples only, it's adults only, which is like a big part of the allure for us because you know we love our children dearly. Yep. But you know, if I can go a couple days without, excuse me, daddy, hello, daddy, it's like, you know, it's all good. We can. I don't want to hear. You know, I'm taking a quick break from my children, who I love dearly. I don't want to hear anybody else's kids when I'm on the beach.
No, 100%. I mean, you know me. I love Sandals myself. I used to go every year at least once before, obviously. Our lovely COVID we just went through. Actually, we're supposed to go together.
Dude, I was calling you from the beach because I'm like, what do you think of Barbados? And part of that call was kind of getting your take on the resort Barbados itself, but another one was kind of putting sliding a thought across the bow there, trying to get you, you know, hey, maybe we'll go with you guys, you know.
That'd be awesome. I have 2 free trips that, well, not free, I paid for them. I just haven't been, and Barbados was my favorite. And I actually met a couple NFL guys last time I was there. And speaking of the NFL, I hear you're a 49ers fan.
Yeah, and you were kind enough to sit me right under the picture. I don't know if your viewers can see it or not, but this guy sits me right under the picture where the Giants, I think it was 2011.
Yeah, Mario Ingram scored the last touchdown.
Yeah, but we won't talk about the 3 muff punts by by Williams.
Williams. Yeah, Kyle Williams, I think his name was.
Best player on your team that day.
Yeah, he was unbelievable. So what are the rumors? So I know this is a sports / realtor podcast. So rumors, I'm hearing Tom Brady might get lured out to California. Do we think that's true? Yeah. Would you like him? Would you not?
I mean, I'm hopeful. Put it this way, I've heard rumors about Tom Brady, and it's funny, the first time I heard the rumor was from a Patriots / Tom Brady fan who I met in the Bahamas for the first time.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, you didn't hear Tom Brady's probably going to the Niners? I'm like, all right, well, I'll believe that when I get home and do a little my own research.
I think it comes down to if his wife will let him play.
Right. I mean, and Giselle, she might, if he, you know, does a little extra homework with the kids or something. We'll see. But I'll take Brady over Rodgers because I've heard that rumor too. And it's
we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens with Aaron Rodgers this year. Where he's staying, going, divorced, not divorced, separated with her.
Dude,
who knows?
Whoever it is, he's gonna have them. He'll have that team by the. You know, I don't know what rating we're putting on this show, but you know, but he'll have them under his grasp for a couple of years, whoever it is. So,
nice. So a little while ago, you said probably a few minutes ago you had children. So how many children do you have?
I do. I have 2 amazing kids. Like awesome. I love those guys.
Boys, girls.
I have a 12-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl.
Okay. And what are their names?
CJ is my eldest.
Okay.
And Mina.
Nice. Now, any sports or anything what are they into?
So Mina is in the process of tumbling.
Speaking of tumbling, that's the ice coming down the machine.
I dig that.
Okay.
We're high end around here.
Yeah.
So Mina's in tumbling,
Yep.
which is basically a fancy way of saying rolling around on pads in the gym. Big shout to Just Tumble in Shelton. They're pretty awesome.
Nice.
And CJ is in everything he can be.
Okay.
So last year he was all-star baseball player. This year he was starting center for his basketball team. He's going to play football in the fall. He actually, when we left for vacation, he brought it up. The day we left, he jumps up for a rebound.
Yep.
And he comes down on somebody else's foot, rolls his ankle, tears 3 ligaments. So
it sounds about right. Right before vacation.
Yeah. And if anybody's wondering, yes, he is my natural son, and yes, he is a center.
I don't know how that is.
I don't know how that is either, but I'm pretty sure.
Maybe look, a distant cousin or uncle or somebody.
My wife's uncles are one of her uncles is pretty tall. So.
Okay, well we'll take that. So if you had to pick, what do you think your son's favorite sport is?
Well, right now it's basketball because
he
was like, but I think his favorite sport is basketball because he dominates. Mm-hmm. He's really skilled. He's a great rebounder. He hustles more than everybody else. So basketball that shines. Right. So because of the accolades, he loves basketball.
Okay, and you guys live in Monroe, right?
Yeah, man, love Monroe.
Yep. So us and Shelton, we're kind of like rivals, So we'll see. We'll see.
I don't know if you guys measure up. That's a little shot across about one of my brother-in-laws too.
Speaking of not measuring up, I hear you and your son CJ like the Mets.
Yeah.
So how's that treating? How old's your son? You said 12?
He's 12 now.
So he's had an enjoyable 12 years as a Mets fan.
Dude, when he first really started watching was 2015, and we went to World Series that year.
Yep.
So it only takes 1 year.
That's true.
And then he's hooked, and now he's ruined for life.
That's all right. Hey, man, I'm a Giants, Knicks, Yankees fan. We get disappointed every year.
Yeah, so you're partially disappointed, partially not.
We have a couple more championships, but yeah, it's not the easiest. And then also, real quick too, so you've been a real estate agent for how long?
5 years now.
So prior to real estate, what were you doing?
Okay, so I was in a cross between marketing and politics. Right?
Okay.
So my father has had a marketing company, a local marketing company based out of Bridgeport for about 30 years.
Okay.
Big shouts to American View Productions, if anybody wants to check them out. Business-to-business marketing, does a great job, public relations, all that. So I grew up in that. And I learned about the value of database really early on in life. It's really helped out from being able to market my clients' listings.
Yeah.
So that's always been ingrained in me from a young age. And then I got into politics in Bridgeport, which is never boring.
Yeah, of course not. It's always an adventure.
And then I started helping out with campaigns and incorporated the marketing into the campaigning. And it's amazing the parallels between marketing a campaign or marketing anything or running a campaign. The parallels between that and then marketing real estate, it goes hand in hand.
Well, it's all sales, right?
The principles are the same, right? It really is. It really is sales. It's really a lot of branding and brand development. I mean, it all helps. It all helps.
Nice. Now, you said you've been a real estate agent for 5 years, and you work at Remax in Trumbull, right?
Yeah, Remax Right Choice.
Now, have you only worked there, or did you work anywhere prior?
So I started out with Keller Williams.
Keller Williams in Trumbull, okay.
Yep, right across the street. So it wasn't a big move jumping. I mean, it was a big move for different reasons, but geographically it was right down the road. I live 5 minutes up the road in Monroe from the Trumbull offices. But yeah, it was. You know what? It was a really organic, natural transition. Yep. I started with Keller Williams. They have a really good onboarding program. They did at the time. I don't know if they still do. Okay. They had a nice training program. Big shout out to Wayne Chimura for that one. He ran the program at the time.
Yeah, I know Wayne. Wayne's a great guy.
Yeah, Wayne's a great guy, and there were instructors there, Mela and Val, and just great people that got me started. Yeah. Mela actually went over to Remax Right Choice as well. Okay. And so that was really a good way to get my feet wet. And then when I feel like, when I was really ready to take on a more permanent role, because I was still working in politics in Bridgeport during that first year, and it gave me the confidence to take it full time. Okay. And then when it was time to take it full time, my mentors, the Camella ladies, Kimmy and Diane Camella. Kim is actually Kim Camella Roy now, but they're the ones that kind of got me inspired, started me, my first mentors in the game, and it took off. It was a really organic thing. I mean, the whole reason I even ended up going into politics, out of politics, Politics was not a satisfying career, so I'll put that out there, but real estate is. But the whole thing that got me into real estate was actually when we moved to Monroe, we started doing renovations, and I had a buddy, Ruben, who helped me out with all the renovations, and he wanted nothing from me. But because we were so good at the renovating thing, this was like the third house we had done, we're like, hey, let's become realtors, so maybe we could do some flips.
And make a few bucks.
And keep some of that money in-house by being our own realtors. Well, he met his wife, and then in real estate class, so he got that out of it. And then I learned that, hey, you know what, this actually might be a better fit than I thought. This is a career opportunity. So it just kind of naturally, organically happened, and then it was a part-time side hustle at first, and then
that's how a lot of realtors start.
Yeah, man, and it was beautiful. It worked out perfectly. Now, serving my clients has been so satisfying. It's like turning on a light switch emotionally. You know what I mean? Going from politics where, I always tell people, cut me off if I'm talking too much.
No, you're good, bro. We're here to learn about you, man. That's what we're here to talk about. You want.
And I'm going to come back to you because you were also integral part of me actually making real estate a career as opposed to a side thing. I mean, we'll get to that, but where was I headed with that?
No, you were just talking about how you got in, and that's, you were talking about how you started it. Obviously, Keller Williams, you moved over to Remax. You had great mentors, the Camellas and Roys. I mean, they're huge producers. So now, I always like to ask this. I've had a couple different real estate offices in here, and I try to bring a new one in every week. What is it about Remax that you feel why you're there, right? Because every day we all get recruited, we get calls from everybody how great they're. What is it about Remax do you think that brought your business to a different level, or why Remax? So people, just so I can let people know, understand, and go from there.
Well, I'll start with the macro and then work my way up. I mean, Remax is the biggest real estate company on the planet, right? We're the biggest real estate company in the world. We're the biggest real estate company in the country. So the resources and the technology it's almost unlimited. I mean, the things that we have at our disposal, the things that help me to be of greater service to my clients, which is where I got tripped up and lost before. I was basically telling you that it's so gratifying to be able to serve people as they make this incredible, huge transition into their lives. And I know you get to do it too. It's part of the mortgage process, but it's also part of the the real estate process, being there at the closing and watching people in awe of their new homes and what they've been able to accomplish. Being a part of that is everything. So Remax is giving me the tools to be able to be of greatest service. That's number one. And then number two, Remax Right Choice. We have a leader and our broker owner, Jeff Wright. I mean, he is top notch. Just an amazing human being.
Now he owns, it's what, 5, 6, 7 offices right now?
I'm going to agree with you because I'm not even sure how many.
It's something of that nature. I know he's a drugger.
He just took on 2 or 3 more offices upstate, which is awesome. I mean, it just builds the resources. And now that the pandemic is coming to a close, and we'll be able to reintegrate all our realtors like we did before the pandemic. Just being able to feed off of so many great and they're all full timers. So to me that there's a big difference between a full time agent and a part time agent. No offense to any of the part time agents, but just being able to feed off each other. I mean, you're in the room with the best of the best. And like I said, he is such a dynamic guy. He's been doing it for decades, and in the commercial world, in the residential world, he's just. It's always encouraging. Having a 5-minute conversation with a guy makes you feel like you can move mountains.
No, I mean, listen, and that segues to the next question. So, obviously, this market is insane. There's been a lot of ups and downs the last couple of years. One of the questions I like to ask everybody is, the whole point of this is to get to know you, right? So there's 1 million real estate agents, there's 1 million mortgage people. What do you think it's about you that people gravitate towards, or what is it about you that just makes you successful? Like when you tell us a little bit about that.
Well, there's a lot of it. I'm going to start with you though.
Okay,
because
well, I appreciate that.
Let me tell you, probably the most important resource that I have is the people I surround myself with. And you, as my absolute go-to mortgage guy, it's hard for me to find a client that I can't say, yeah, Danny's probably the best fit for you. because you've been able to nurture my clients from start to finish.
Yep.
It's not like, a lot of these companies that just, and I've talked to you about this, but a lot of companies they'll start the process with you and then they pass you off to somebody out in Florida or Louisiana or something that you've never heard of, doesn't know you, and then, you're introducing yourself. So my clients get a comfort because they get to work with a company where you're with them from start to finish. The attorneys that I've gotten to know over the years that I, very often get to refer. Big shout out to the Kaisers, Tim and Peter and Kevin over there at Kaiser and Collier.
Nice. You guys better start sending some checks. There's been a lot of shout outs today. Just saying.
I can't take checks. Me
neither. I'm just joking. But good for you. I think it's awesome that you're letting people know who your team is, because team is so important in everything we do in life.
And there's been other attorneys that I've worked with, Carl Platt, Adam Hirsch. I can go down the line of really good people. But it's that Rolodex. Contractors. Contractors that I've been able to put my people in touch with. It's just being more important than just being your real estate agent. I try to be my client's resource. And that goes beyond closing. You know what I mean? When things happen and they buy the house, everything's fine, but then they find out, I'd really like to have a fence in the backyard. Hey, Cisco, who do you have? Who do you know that? I try to make sure that at least a few times a year I reach out to my past clients and say, hey, listen, I'm here for you. Let me know if you need anything. Now, as far as being a resource during the transaction, beyond the people I know, for my buyer clients, my biggest resource is the fact that I've done it. I've been elbow deep in renovation work, in construction work. I've done a lot of things like that, a lot of renovation projects for family members, for myself. I've taken my own home down to the sticks and rebuilt it with my hands. You know what I mean? So I know the cost of materials and things like that. So I get a chance to save my clients from having to spend, $1,400, $1,500, $600, depending on the scope of the house. On inspection, We'll nail out, we'll hammer out a lot of those issues before you ever have to spend that money. And I can give my people a realistic, conservative idea of how much stuff is going to cost, the improvements they want to make. And then for my seller clients, I have my marketing background. And I don't have to tell you, when you're selling a house, even in this market where you sell a home and you're like, oh well, everything's going over asking price, and a monkey can sell a house in this market. It doesn't take a whole lot to sell a house in this market, but having the marketing experience and the understanding of the market and the understanding of how to market a home, I can have 15 offers for you as opposed to 3 offers for you. Now, there's a really good chance that one of those other, 12 offers is going to be higher or a better mortgage company or have, better terms. So I think there's value to be had.
So speaking of selling homes right now, right? So I talk to some agents all the time, and some think open houses right now are silly. Some think they're great because the more houses are selling so quick. Do you think an open house is a great idea right now?
That is interesting. So I'm going to have some colleagues giving me hate and all of this. By the way, this is my first podcast, so I really appreciate it.
You're doing awesome.
Thank you for the invitation.
No,
I really appreciate it.
You've done great.
But if I don't get canceled at the end of this, that's going to be a win. So I'm hoping my colleagues don't hate me for this, but I'm going to give you my honest opinion on open houses. I think open houses are wonderful and amazing for realtors. I think they're okay for people selling a house.
In today's market or always?
In today's market, I think they're being used improperly in most cases. So in the last year, the last 2 years, I believe, and I could be fact checked on this, but I believe the number of realtors has doubled in the last 2 years, if I'm not mistaken.
You're probably right. I mean, the mortgage world, there's not a lot of new mortgage loan officers in Connecticut that are actually live in Connecticut. It's all the outside people trying to jump in on the refi boom and everything else. But go ahead.
Right. So you've seen it on your end too. Excuse me. So there's a lot of people out to build their own businesses, to start from scratch. And open houses are one of the best ways that a new realtor can start developing relationships with clients and things like that. It's being used improperly, I think, because you have an opportunity when you first put a house on the market to do your outreach through email blasting, through social media boosting, through all these channels that you can do, whether it's mailers, you can door knock the neighbors to let them know something's coming. There's all these avenues that you can do. I try to do it that way to try to create a frenzy and almost like a grand opening effect. So when we go live, everything blows out at the same time.
Correct.
To do an open house at the same time as that is like doubling down on something that's already there. That feel, that grand opening effect is already in place. Because if you're not getting, in this market, if you're not getting 6 to 10 showings that first Saturday,
if not more,
and Sunday the same thing, then you've either priced wrong or you've marketed wrong, right?
Okay.
With an open house, you're doubling down without having the extra benefit. So what I do with my clients is, if they're, let's say we priced aggressively, right? When a client wanted to price aggressively, it's not usually my choice, it's usually the client's choice, and they're the boss, right?
Yep.
So we price aggressively, we don't sell for the first 2 weeks.
Yep.
This hasn't happened in a long time, so I'm kind of...
That's true, yeah.
So let's say they haven't sold in the first 2 weeks. Well, an open house is giving me an excuse to do that same media blitz all over again.
Yeah.
Right, so now I can do another set of email blasts, I can do another set of mailers, I can do another social media boost. Hey, come to the open house. It gives me a chance to put that house at the forefront again. Mm-hmm. If I'm doing it the first weekend, you know, what's the point?
Yeah.
I'm doing all that marketing. It's serving me, but it's not serving my client.
Okay.
You know, so
that's fine. I think it's great. I always, again, every week I want to hear a different perspective. Everyone's different.
Sure.
I try to bring as successful people in as I can, and I think it's great. And my whole point is I want the audience to hear this because, you know, everyone does things differently. Mm-hmm. So speaking of real estate, right? So it's been a crazy 24 months. There's been a lot of highs, lows, laughing, crying. You probably dealt with it all with clients. Can you give the audience and myself just one great story in the last, a success story that just really stood with you, or somebody you got a home where, you know, they didn't think they could, kind of something of that nature?
Oh, jeez. So, oh man.
I know it's a tough question. I just figured
it's a tough question, and that's my fault because I told you I didn't want to rehearse anything ahead of time.
Yeah,
so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of success stories.
Yeah,
I'm gonna flip it on you.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna turn around and say,
awesome.
Listen, I've had.
Talk to me.
So 2020.
Go ahead.
Was a panic moment for all realtors and all mortgage people.
Dude, I remember the guy who recruited me called me. I thought I was having a panic attack.
Dude, I thought I had, coming into the pandemic, I had more transactions in the pipeline. So for you guys who don't know what in the pipeline means, it basically means that things that are under contract and waiting to close.
Correct.
Than ever had in my career.
Okay.
And I was full panic thinking that the governor was going to say,
complete shutdown?
Yeah. We're shutting everything down. And I would have just been stuck, right?
Yeah, of course.
Thankfully, it didn't happen that way. Mm-hmm. And that ended up being the best year of my career. Okay. 2020 was the best year I ever had.
That's amazing. Me too.
In the midst of it.
Okay.
Yeah. See?
Same here.
And you know what? That may be more correlation than, you know, we'll see. I like to think so. But
why not?
Making more of myself impossible. But everything since then, dude, when I've had buyer clients, every buyer client who's had an offer accepted, we've seen our way through, we've gotten to that finish line. It's always been with a little bit of doubt, saying, you know, this is a terrible market for buyers. You know, my buyer clients are my success stories because I don't advocate for overpaying. I don't advocate for getting rid of. And I've done YouTube videos. I don't advocate for foregoing inspection. Things like that. So when we get to that finish line and things are good and they're happy, and in 100% of cases, you know, things work out in the long. I always follow up with my clients to see how they're doing. I've had nobody say, "Hey, listen, I really wish I hadn't bought this house."
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? For the last couple of years, it's been every buyer client has been my success story. My seller clients are obviously happy.
Of course.
So I'm not discounting that, but that's supposed to happen.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I tell my son, he's like, "Hey, I filled and emptied the dishwasher. Are you proud of me?" I'm like, you know, I'm like, you're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
When you bring me straight A's, like he does, by the way.
Okay.
So much props for CJ. My son brings me straight A's. But when he does something like empty the dishwasher, I'm like, well, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, of
so
course.
For my seller clients, I'm like, I mean, it's great, everybody's happy, but that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't want to call out anyone.
That's fine. I just like to ask. So a couple.
If something comes to mind, I might just interject.
Dude, I like to know because so many people right now I feel are so negative that the market's there's no inventory, my life's coming to an end, this is the worst market ever. And I try to explain to everyone the last 2 months, years, not 2 months, we've been blessed.
Yeah.
The market's been insane, the rates were super low, but you know what? We're going back to reality now, right?
Yeah.
The rates are up a little bit and the market slowed January and February. History repeats itself all the time, right? Like, it's usually slow. Yes, I know there's not a lot of inventory, but that was my next question. I was actually going to ask you, what is your outlook this year? What do you think for the people listening is going to happen in our market? And obviously it's your opinion, so love to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's all subjective.
Yep.
Yeah, it's subjective. So, in my personal opinion, I think prices are here to stay.
Me too.
The biggest question is, when are prices going to drop? They're not.
Yep.
Keep it right there with gas prices. Things go up and they stay there.
Yeah.
That's the way it works.
So people on the fence that are saying to you, hey, Cisco, you know what, next year is going to be my year because the market's going to collapse. What would you tell someone like that?
I would tell them, look at, Connecticut is involved in a slingshotting effect right now, right? So we've been behind the rest of the nation for years, and now we've kind of slingshotted ahead of things, and we've done that just to get even.
Yeah.
With there's 2-3 years worth of comps now that justify the prices as is.
100%. Yeah.
So to have that drop, I mean, you're going to have first a flood of inventory, which we don't have. We don't see out.
So do you see the inventory coming though?
I mean, I see a reasonable increase just because of the time of year.
Yep.
But I don't see a flood of inventory. Do I think that the seniors who may have downsized or may have moved on to the next form of living might put their homes on the market because they didn't want to move into nursing homes or group home living during the pandemic? Yeah, but I don't think it's enough to move the needle enough where prices are going to drop. It's not going to be a flood of the market. It might get to a leveling point, and that's what I tell my clients. I say our prices aren't going to just drop off a cliff. The prices might plateau for a little while because we had a 20%, 23% gain over the last couple of years. Yeah. But it's not going to come down. It's just going to flatten out. 100%. So that until that natural 3 to 5% incremental increase matches up.
Yeah.
And then when we get there, then we'll see what the market has to do. But people get too caught up into predictions. It's like the stock market. You can get caught up in predictions, and 60% of the time you'd be wrong. Yeah. I mean, most prognosticators end up with the same kind of track record as Punxsutawney Phil. Yeah. Groundhog Day for those who don't know. But it's a coin toss.
Yeah.
The market just is.
Yeah.
It's not about where it's going or what it's going to do, because if we knew that, then everybody would be doing the same thing.
Of course, it's true.
So the market is what it is.
Yep.
You're to try to say, if I wait 6 months and then buy then, you may end up, to your point, with a 6% interest rate. Yeah. Which is still good historically over the course of...
People forgot, dude, 5 years ago, literally, man. I got people 5-6 years ago, I'm looking at their rates, 6.5%, 5.5%. So, again, the rates are where the rates are, kind of my book too. Like, let's say, if I wait another year, and I'm like, look, the rates are where they are.
As a matter of fact, to be honest with you, and if I can prognosticate and be hypocritical for a minute there, I would say, listen, if you're going to buy, get into the market now, okay? Make your offers, learn the market, get your feet wet so you really have a good understanding of what's going on. Even if you're not making offers, just get out there, start seeing homes, start getting an understanding of what the market has to offer, so that, when you are ready, you know what to expect for $350,000 or $450,000. Yeah, this is what I need to expect. This is how many bedrooms, bathrooms. This is the type of condition I should expect to get. I mean, that's the best you can do, is just get out there and be real. Because Zillow and the internet and your Uncle Bob, who once bought a house in 2004, they can only tell you so much.
Yeah, of course.
That's it. Getting out there, boots on the ground. That's how you learn.
All right, cool. So I got 2 more quick questions. I'm gonna let you go because I know you have a bunch of showings and stuff to do today. You told me. So last 2 questions I have for you. First question is, I see a lot of people are becoming real estate teams now. What is your thought on teams? Do you have anyone on your team, or is it just you solo?
I'm glad you asked me that, because I get to like extol like my favorite person on the planet. My wife is now a part-time realtor, right?
Say that.
So she is, first of all, she is the #1 support system, the rock of my family that I get to build everything else from. Everything that I do comes from her steadfastness, for lack of a better word, and not without being too corny. But that's my team.
Yeah.
So she's not out there proactively trying to get business and doing all the things that a full-time realtor is meant to do. But she fills in the gaps for me. Like she is able to, show clients their first home. If there's a Zillow call or a lead or something of that nature, she can make the introduction and kind of lead me to a client. She's my clearinghouse, so to speak. She can do an open house for me if need be. So that's my level of team. Can I see myself building a team in the future? Sure.
Okay.
I think when we get to a more regulatory pace in the world, I'll feel comfortable bringing on an administrative assistant. That's just beyond what RE/MAX already offers me.
Okay.
Where I can, at that point, then feel comfortable bringing on other full-time realtors and things like that. I think there's strength in teams.
Okay.
I think there's a definite advantage to being able to have, as long as you're building your team based on good human resources.
100%. You don't want to put on someone who's not great.
Right. I'm not trying to sit here and bring on, when I do build a team, I'm not going to be bringing on people who have never done it before. And, I'm not at that point now where I've been in the business for 20 years and I'm like, oh, my job is now to mentor.
Yeah, I totally get it.
So I want to bring on people who complement, not who, need necessarily all that mentoring.
Cool. So first of all, shout out to Melissa.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're watching this and see the compliments your man has given you.
Dude,
I think
she's
it's awesome.
She's
People don't realize,
man.
man. People don't realize there's no I in team, and I think if you have a great partner in our businesses, because it's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, it makes the business, more successful, and it's easier to come home to that instead of someone yelling at you, why are you working, why are you on the phone? So that's awesome. And then my last question to you, obviously, when you got in the business, obviously you're killing it now, you were part-time, right? So I get calls all the time from people, hey, I want to start real estate, I want to start my career, I want to, start my life over. So my last question to you today is, for any new agents that are considering or thinking about real estate, give us your best answer. First of all, do you think it's a great time to start real estate? Is real estate easy? Like, just give us whatever you think of. If someone asked you today, hey, Cisco, I want to turn my life around, I want to start becoming a real estate agent. Is it easy? Is it hard?
So I'm gonna quote my broker owner Jeff Wright, who I really look up to, and his quote is, and I hope I don't screw this up: "You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great." Mm-hmm. So if it's something that you want to do because you have a love for the industry, and you want to make a difference, and you want to be of service, that's the key. To be of service to your clients, then God bless. Yeah, absolutely get into it. Do it. But if you think that, hey, listen, I know such and such is making a butt ton of money, and we're gonna do this, and I'm gonna work, my own schedule, and because that's laughable.
What about real estate is easy, and all you guys do is open up doors?
Oh yeah, you're a doorman.
Yeah, that's it. You're a doorman.
I love it.
It's easy.
Yeah,
anyone can do it.
For those people, dude, no, get away. Just stay out. You're flooding the market. You're making people nervous and have bad experiences, and giving realtors a bad name. But no, if you really have the heart of a servant, then that's how a heart of a servant and a heart of a teacher. Okay. So twofold. So, and what I mean by that is when I take my clients out, every time we go see a house, I try to make it a point. Hey, listen, this is how long the manufacturer expects this boiler to last. So understand that this is what you have. Oh, the roof looks like it's 15 years old. It's a 30-year roof, so you can expect to have 15 years before you start budgeting for this, and this. And this is how you should budget for that if you want to do this. Things like that you can just tidbits that you can drop on your client so that by the time they actually buy a house, and by the time they actually, close, I don't want to say they're expert homeowners, but they have a solid knowledge of what to expect.
I mean, I'll tell you this. Yeah, I've been doing it 17 years, and I deal with a lot of different people on different transactions, and I think it's awesome that you have the building background, because I don't think many people do. Like, you're in a huge, successful office. How many? Sure. There's very few people. I mean, I get so many borrowers sometimes that will call me after they close, and they're like, why didn't I know this, or why didn't I know that? And I'm like, look, I do the mortgage stuff. That's where your realtor comes in. I think that's a great perspective. And that's the whole reason why I'm doing the podcast. I want every week when someone walks away from here, what makes you different than most? I think we learned a lot about you, right? You have 2 kids, you have an amazing wife who's your backbone, and your dad's helped you with marketing.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that you've built a bunch of homes and done all this renovation, it sounds like you're giving borrowers and sellers just a different perspective that a lot of people don't know and don't understand. I think that could be huge in this market or any market.
So yeah, and a lot of that, thank you for that, and a lot of that comes from the people that I met and knew coming into it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna flip this on you if you'll give me some.
It's your world, bro. We don't get kicked off, man. We're good.
Listen, oh good.
This is my world.
All right, cool. Yeah, you are. Listen, I came into your world as a newbie 5 years ago, knowing nothing about contracts, knowing nothing about real estate contracts, knowing nothing about the process, other than, like I said, I give lots of props to Kim and Diane, and you're my other guy, dude. You walked me through my first contract.
I remember.
Dude, you were integral into showing me that there's a path to this where you can actually, it's not a factory floor. You care about people. Mm-hmm. Now you are a light to other people that can say, hey, listen, you can get to know your clients. You can care about your clients. You can actually be a servant to your clients.
Yep.
I keep saying a servant. I don't want to make people feel like I'm saying, hey, we're slaves to you. You tell us to do whatever we want. I'm Christian. My background is Christianity. So having the heart of a servant is ingrained into me at the core. And this business, I think, gives us the best opportunity to do that. You have the heart of a servant. I've seen you with my clients. My clients love you. And you also have 25 years of experience in this game?
So for me, 17. My mom's been doing it 27, I think, not to age her. But so I've been around it for a long time. But 100%, dude. If you don't care about your people, they see it, and you gotta work. I mean, there's no time off, and that's why it was so beautiful that you went away. I saw the pictures, and I'm like, it's hard to get away for a couple days. You're disconnected, but you're not disconnected. See, the ice machine keeps coming on.
Listen, man. Listen, I know what we're doing. I know I'm getting more ice after this.
Yeah,
it's something to look forward to.
But no, this was my third one, and it's not because you're here. I think this is the best one. I think I really finally got the story out of somebody.
Okay.
And I really, truly hope everyone gets to know you and everyone understands. And all the people that are watching, I think it's amazing that you gave all these shout outs to different people. We'll be waiting for the checks to come in, but I think it's awesome.
Listen, we are who we know. We are who our resources are. I mean,
that's great. Dude, it's awesome. And like I said, I wish you nothing but amazing success. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And how do you think you did on your first podcast? Why I turned this thing off?
Listen, man.
Tell me.
I think I might have made it through. I didn't get canceled, as far as I know. I'm probably not popular enough to get canceled, but it's cool. I didn't swear.
No,
which is awesome.
Which is great.
We didn't talk enough about sports. I feel like you could have dug on me a little bit more about the Mets, and I could have talked about the Scherzer DeGrom thing and what's coming and our World Series in the next 2 years. But
keep fantasizing. My Yankees are gonna be there right with you. Either way, we appreciate it.
2000 over again. We could do that.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Talk soon.